Years passed. The case file, thick with interviews and forensic reports, was relegated to the cold case shelf. Mark Jenkins, having left the military, attempted to rebuild his life, believing he had successfully navigated the system. But the dedicated cold case unit refused to let Sarah be forgotten. They understood that time often yields new technology and, more importantly, changes allegiances. They began a methodical re-examination of every piece of evidence, focusing on tiny details missed in the initial chaos. The key lay in the soil samples and the limited DNA evidence recovered from the shallow grave, samples that were now ready for advanced forensic analysis unavailable in 1999. The breakthrough arrived nearly a decade later. Advanced DNA testing on trace evidence found beneath Sarah's fingernails confirmed the presence of Mark Jenkins' sDNA, evidence of a struggle that directly contradicted his claims of innocence. Simultaneously, the cold case team revisited Jenkins's old contacts, finding a former military colleague who was finally ready to talk. This witness, burdened by years of guilt, revealed that Jenkins had asked him for help disposing of something heavy around the time of Sarah's disappearance. The combination of irrefutable forensic science and a conscience-stricken witness provided the critical mass needed for an arrest warrant. The testimony of the former colleague was damning. He recounted how Jenkins had been highly agitated, demanding secrecy, and acting suspiciously in the days immediately following Sarah's disappearance. While the colleague claimed he didn't know the heavy object was Sarah's body, his account placed Jenkins directly in the location where the body was later found, destroying Jenkins's carefully constructed alibi. This witness, fearing retribution but ultimately choosing truth, became the cornerstone of the prosecution's case. His bravery, years after the fact, proved that silence is often the killer's greatest weapon, but not an unbreakable one. The investigation also uncovered evidence suggesting Jenkins hadn't acted entirely alone, or at least had sought assistance in covering his tracks. While the colleague was not charged as an accomplice to the murder, the web of deceit extended beyond just the killer. There were indications that others within Jenkins's immediate circle, perhaps fearing the military hierarchy or simply too intimidated to speak, had withheld crucial information. This revelation painted a disturbing picture of how fear and loyalty can corrupt justice, allowing a killer to operate with a degree of impunity for nearly a decade. The prosecution argued that the cover-up was as calculated as the murder itself. After a grueling trial where the history of abuse, the DNA evidence, and the witness testimony were laid bare, the jury returned a verdict: guilty. Mark Jenkins was convicted of Sarah Jenkins's murder, finally bringing a measure of closure to her grieving family. The case served as a stark reminder that even the most calculated crimes, hidden behind uniforms and years of silence, can be exposed by determined investigators and the relentless march of forensic science. Justice for Sarah was delayed, but not denied. Her story remains a powerful testament to the victims of domestic violence and the enduring hope for accountability.